Welcome to Alaska Weather, a production of Alaska Public Media and the National Weather Service, Alaska Region. Produced and broadcast daily from the studios of KAKM, Alaska Weather provides complete forecasts, public, marine, and aviation for all of Alaska. Alaska Weather is made possible by the following sponsors.
Find a living in fisheries. The UAS Fisheries Technology Program offers online study from anywhere in Alaska, plus labs and workshops in many Alaska towns.
Is most likely a chum.
Find your living without leaving where you are. Fisheries Technology from UAS.
The National Weather Service.
Hello again, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us here at KAKM for Saturday's edition of Alaska Weather. Let's see, up first here, we've got still that flood watch going here along the Beaufort Sea coast, eastern Beaufort Sea coast there. Potential for flooding conditions, at least for another day or so up in that area. And to the breakup chart here, again, the flood watch there right at the mouth of the river there, otherwise continuing to break up slowly, especially along the Sagwan River there, with areas of some to mostly open ice. Otherwise, everything else wide open south of the Brooks Range. And on the satellite imagery here, another nice sunny day across the southeast coast. A little bit of an increase in the high clouds and even some low stuff pressing up against the north coast there. But to a lesser extent down to the south, and temperatures were the warmest there over the southern areas. And then we've got this weak front kind of inching its way across the Gulf of Alaska, the main push up to the north and northeast, with some of that moisture wrapping back out toward the Kotzebue Sound area in the northwest coast, with persistent area of upper high pressure here. It's really having a tough time making eastward progress there, but it looks like something will weakly move into the panhandle later tonight and tomorrow. Back out to the west here, a fair amount of moisture sliding northeastward here, and that kind of linking up, or is linking up, with this upper level trough out over the northern Bering Sea. A little bit of a development in this area, and that'll be all sliding up to the northeast, bringing rain into the southwest tonight, and then eastward and northeastward into the southwest interior during the day tomorrow. And rolling that through again, another mostly VFR day along the Arctic coast today, with the exception of Barrow. Had some fog and a little bit of flurry conditions there. Otherwise, pretty nice again on the north slope. Just a lot of high cloudiness up in that area. And along and south of the Brooks Range into the interior, central interior, a fair amount of quite a few areas receiving wetting rains, with amounts from 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch, some cases upwards of 1/3 of an inch up through there, and even areas down to the south and southwest here, with eastern Norton Sound picking up some fair amounts of rainfall, and then the rain with this system sliding up all the way up to the Pribilof Islands today, and kind of a brisk southwest wind, 15 to 25 miles per hour, gusts to 30, maybe 35 here. Bristol Bay, Alaska Peninsula, actually right up to the southern Seward Peninsula area there, becoming lighter where the low center is up to the north. And otherwise, lots of clouds, and again, some scattered showers here over the eastern interior. Most prevalent along this trough as it lifted northward, starting to taper off now across the Kenai Peninsula and Cook Inlet areas, and a few showers again staying off the coast there, as well as the area of clouds, but this trough will continue to push gradually eastward, but that remaining trough and frontal remnant is going to continue to weaken. And looking for tonight, again, that low center tracks up to the Yukon Delta coast there, across Nunivak Island, and the cold front spreads rain into Bristol Bay from the Alaska Peninsula and up across Yukon or the Kuskokwim Delta to the northern Yukon Delta there, with just some kind of drizzle, scattered showers and fog there from the Bering Strait into the northern Bering Sea. And otherwise kind of a break here across the west central areas, maybe out to the northwest coast area. You could see a little bit of clearing, but look for an increase in clouds and bear a chance for shower activity across the Brooks Range area onto the north slope, with lighter amounts, or that same situation there at Barrow, and then patchy fog to the east, and a pretty good area of showers here from the central Alaska Range right up across the central and eastern Tanana Valley to Eagle and northward, and scattered showers, mostly cloudy skies in the forecast for the Copper River Basin. Again, that all diminishing here, kind of higher pressure building in, so look for the rain and even the showers to just about end tonight for south central Alaska, the exception being Chugach, Talkeetnas, and maybe the Alaska Range here, a few lingering showers with increasing clouds here across all of the southeast coast, especially over the northern areas. And as that trough slips on in, increasing chance for some scattered light shower activity. And then for tomorrow, this system now up into northeastern Bristol Bay, with rain from that area, and then along the front there, coming across the Kuskokwim Valley into the Alaska Range, and some of that getting into the Cook Inlet area possibly, especially in the afternoon hours. It'll be kind of an increasing cloud, increasing chance of moisture kind of day here for Cook Inlet, but a break from Prince William Sound, kind of northwestward there to the western North Slope and Arctic coast. Could see some partial clearing. Lingering showers there from the northeastern Copper River Basin up across the upper Tanana Valley 40-mile country, but the bulk of the moisture now off into Canada, kind of lingering back here on the north side of that low system along the Brooks Range. And looks like mostly cloudy with a few showers around, with the shower activity mostly restricted to the northern panhandle, but definitely more clouds even down south there, with possible maybe marginal VFR along the coastline. Out to the west, another trough dropping into the northern Bering Sea, tracking eastward. But for Monday, that whole system here pushes off to the east. Again, showers ending from west-southwest to north-northeast. So cloudy, scattered showers here, Copper River Basin, actually in the North Gulf Coast, all the way up into the Yukon Valley and the Brooks Range, and then extending back to the west there along the southern slopes of the Brooks Range, which includes probably the northern Koyukuk Valley there on out to Point Hope and Cape Lisburne. And again, maybe some low clouds, fog, and mixed precipitation, light precipitation up there on the eastern Arctic coast, with again kind of a mostly cloudy day, with still a few showers lingering there over the southeast coast, with a kind of a persistent trough. But look for some clearing down south again. That'll be the driest and warmest location in that area. And then with high pressure here at the surface building in behind this trough, winds become downsloping off the Alaska Range there. So that should clear it out over Cook Inlet and the Kenai Peninsula, as well as Prince William Sound down toward Kodiak Island. Might be a little longer or harder to clear it out with some lingering showers up the valley. That next trough coming on shore, making with the precipitation making landfall probably Sunday night. That's not quite as strong. It doesn't have the upper support that this one has as it comes across, so it's going to be moving slower, and the precipitation field really breaking up as it heads eastward and probably getting stalled out there along the western Alaska Range. Otherwise, quite an area of low clouds, drizzle, fog here from the northern Bering Sea all the way out. Well, actually covering much of the Bering Sea with IFR and marginal VFR conditions. May see a few breaks Monday there for the Aleutians, with winds not all that particularly strong, maybe a little breezier out to the west. And for temperatures across the southeast coast today, quite a contrast here in the marine layer. Elfin Cove at 48 this afternoon. At the same time, Shelter Cove, 80 degrees, warm spot in the state. Heidelberg at 66. Juneau, nice 69-degree reading, but just 50 at Cordova, with rain. Picked up about ½ an inch in the last 12 hours there, and rain in 52 in Valdez. Lower 50s here across the peninsula, Cook Inlet, Homer, all the way up to Anchorage. Mid-50s for the valleys, lower 60s there in portions of the Copper River Basin, and upper 50s to lower 60s there up in the Tanana Valley, 50s back to the west with 60s, 66 there at Fort Yukon, 54 Arctic Village, and a little cooler up there on the north slope, upper 40s for the most part, but still pulled anywhere that's pulled back from the coast, rising into the 40s like New Wixit, for example. Otherwise, the cold spot there, again with the fog and flurries, 30 degrees at Barrow, and then upper 30s to near 50 here over the northwest, and mostly in the 30s there, especially along the coast of the Seward Peninsula, through the Bering Strait down to St. Lawrence Island, mid to upper 40s here across all of the southwest interior, on out to the coast, mid 40s for the Aleutians, near 40 for the Pribilofs, and 50 at King Salmon. Lows for tonight on the mild side up there in the northeast, 45 to 50, 30 to 35-ish out here to the west, and probably Barrow dropping into the upper 20s barely. Otherwise, mid to upper 40s here for the southern areas. Same thing for the Panhandle, 40s out in the Aleutians, but Akanatka probably dropping a little below 40 degrees. And for the highs tomorrow, 60 to 65 up here in the northeast. Tanana Valley mostly in the mid 50s. A couple of locations could rise to the lower 60s up in that area, or actually that looks like it probably Gulkana's forecast high. 50s to lower 60s there for the Panhandle, so notably cooler, and upper 40s to near 50 for the southwest and Bristol Bay. Flying weather tomorrow morning, a lot of marginal VFR there from the southern Brooks Range or south of the mountains all the way out to the Arctic coast, with some on the southern slopes here of the central and western range, areas of IFR posted. IFR here along the southwest coast down to the Alaska Peninsula to the eastern Aleutians, and marginal VFR hugging the coastline here, and in fact forecast to develop even over some of the inland areas later on tonight. Going to tomorrow afternoon, you can see swath of VFR here from the Gulf of Alaska up to the northwest, IFR lifting northeastward there from the central Arctic coast down into the northern eastern Brooks Range, and some IFR for the Alaska Peninsula, and maybe some marginal stuff down there over the southern southeast coast, and a big area IFR here from the Bering Sea on down to the western central Aleutians. Passes Anaktuvik, conditions will be VFR in the south entrance to IFR in the north side. That same pattern in store for Adigan as well. Lake Clark and Merrill, VFR becoming marginal, and these western entrances could become IFR tomorrow afternoon. And for Rainy, again, VFR deteriorating to marginal with the lowest conditions developing on the western approach. Windy though, looks like it'll be VFR throughout the day. Isabel, marginal becoming VFR. And Mentesta, same trend, starting out marginal, becoming VFR. Tanita, VFR. Portage looking good there. And for Chilkoot and White, starting out marginal, becoming VFR. And for the freezing levels here, again, that cold upper trough, 2,000 feet there from the Chukchi Basin down into the eastern Bering Sea, and 4,000 to 6,000 feet here over the interior, with the warmest air aloft now from the southern Panhandle in across western Canada with that persistent upper level high, and then notably warmer air sliding into the far western Bering Sea and Aleutians. So icing wise, this stuff kind of exiting throughout the day tomorrow, but lingering up there in the northeast, and then with that next system sliding eastward there, that'll push some icing possibilities from the Alaska Peninsula up to the Alaska Range, and some of that spilling into the inlet possibly tomorrow afternoon, extending back out to the west. For the winds aloft, trough up here over the northern Bering Sea with a trough axis southwest of there, associated with what will be moving through later on. Otherwise, ridging now kind of suppressed down here over the Gulf of Alaska, with a very weak trough here supporting those showers for the northern Panhandle, but the high holding over northwest Canada. 9,000 foot winds, pretty brisk, mostly off the coast here from the Alaska Peninsula, across the Gulf of Alaska, and northwesterlies at about 30 knots off the coast of the Panhandle. Lighter winds over the interior. And even at 3,000 feet, westerly 30 knots, turn northwest at 30 tomorrow, and that's going to support some small craft advisories there along the coast with much lighter winds to the east, light and variable over the interior, and westerlies 15 to 20, 25 knots here from the southwest coast eastward, but again, really light over south central Alaska and the Copper River Basin. Turbulence, maybe some light to isolated moderate stuff here along the coastline. And here, Kodiak Island with that westerly flow, downsloping winds, mechanical turbulence, especially for small aircraft of the more moderate variety there on the lee side of the island, including the Barrens. Light to isolated moderate here over the southwest coast. Otherwise not too bad, kind of an area maybe there over the western Aleutians. And after the break, I'll be back with a look at the marine forecasts.
The beauty and tranquility of our rivers provide the setting for numerous outdoor activities, from fishing on a lazy afternoon to facing the thrilling challenge of whitewater rapids. However, we must never underestimate the tremendous force of moving water, which can quickly turn harmless fun into a fight for your life. The hazard of drowning can appear suddenly and in many forms. It occurs in metropolitan areas and in isolated rural locations, such as canyons, arroyos, whitewater locations, caves, and even storm drains. Some of the most popular vacation spots in the western and southwestern United States are canyons. Each year, thousands of campers, hikers, and other outdoor enthusiasts explore the narrow valleys and gorges found in canyons. However, when raging floodwaters roar through these narrow channels, these popular spots can become death traps.
First came the lawn furniture, and then came the live gas tanks off of campers and stuff, and then came the saw logs and the wood piles, and then came the cars and the trucks and the campers, and cars had lights on them and the people in them, and the lights are still on them. There was people in them, and you couldn't even get close to this because of all the debris coming down.
There's no way to help any of them.
No way, no way. And you couldn't even hear them scream, thank God, because the roar was so bad.
A flood is an overflow of water onto normally dry land. Flooding is long-term, lasting for days or weeks. A flash flood is caused by heavy rainfall in a short period of time, generally less than 6 hours. Flash floods can develop quickly when you least expect it. They can form from intense thunderstorms at the upper end of a canyon, sometimes many miles away. Although you may be in the lower end of the canyon, enjoying sunny skies, danger could be racing toward you at that very moment. Flash floods in canyons are so localized and powerful, they carry boulders, rocks, trees, and anything else in their path. People don't just drown in these kinds of flash floods. They are also beaten to death by the moving debris. Visitors to popular spots like Zion National Park and other canyons need to be constantly aware of changing weather conditions to ensure a safe outing. To alert people of current and potential danger, the National Weather Service monitors our current river conditions and issues official flood and flash flood watches and warnings. Keep abreast of current weather conditions before entering and while visiting a canyon. An arroyo is a flat-bottomed, normally dry stream bed forming a channel. usually found in the semi-arid western United States. They can be many miles long. Most often in the summer months, warm, moist tropical air masses produce strong thunderstorms with intense rainfall. Arroyos become hazards when rain falls too quickly to be absorbed by the hardened desert ground and quickly runs through the usually dry channels. When this happens, a dry arroyo can quickly become a raging river. Some people choose to camp in the flat, dry arroyo bed. However, rainwater channeled into an arroyo can come from thunderstorms occurring miles away, leaving campers unaware they are in the direct path of a deadly wall of racing water. Vehicles are especially prone to hidden danger in areas where roads without bridges dip across these normally dry creek beds. Be especially careful when in or near an arroyo, wash, or low water crossing. Never drive through flooded roads or washes. You can lose control of your car in as little as 6 inches of water, and 2 feet of water can carry your car away. In recent years, whitewater rafting has become a popular adventure sport. Riding the swirling waters or navigating around standing waves are exciting ways to enjoy the outdoors. There are dangers associated with fast-moving water, but with a little common sense, rafters and kayakers can enjoy a safe day on the river. Swollen rivers from rain, melting snow, or scheduled dam releases can provide for exciting whitewater rides. Increased river heights produce a faster, more powerful flow. Rafters need to know current river conditions to avoid potential mishaps. Usually, it is the novice adventurer without professional guidance who gets into trouble.
Last weekend, when 3 river rafters went over the edge, sucked into water churning so furiously, it ripped off one of the rafters' life jackets.
It's the pressure, tons and tons of water pushing against a human being. The tons of water usually always win.
There's a lot of big waves. There's also the cold water, hypothermia is a big factor too.
It's good, exciting flow right now. You just gotta run it safely and you shouldn't have any problems.
Depending on weather conditions, water levels vary throughout the year, making certain times better for rafting than others. The character of a river may change depending on the height of the river and shape of the channel.
Welcome back. Northwest winds, small craft advisories here, strongest on the south coast with seas 10 to 11 feet, west 25 there in the extreme north coast. Lynn Canal, south 15, not too bad with northwesterlies, 15 increasing to 25 knots down across Clarence Strait. And then for Monday, westerlies at 20 for the north coast, hanging on to the small craft advisories there for the south coast. Clarence Strait dropping off a little bit, but staying northwest, south 15 here for Stevens Passage, and increasing to 25 knots in northern Lynn Canal. And for Prince William Sound, variable to southwesterlies, pretty light with slight seas, southwest 15 here for northern Cook Inlet, picking up speed as you go south to 30 knots in Shelikof Strait, 30 knots southwesterlies there on the east side of Kodiak Island, and westerlies 25 to 30 knots from the Barrens on eastward across the North Gulf Coast. And for Monday, staying pretty brisk out here, 30 knots, definitely a stiff breeze with 9 to 10 foot seas, even small craft advisories continuing there on the east side of the island, dropping back to 20 knots for Shelikof Strait, and then 25 to 30 knots for the southern inlet in Kamishak Bay, but southwest 10 north of the Forelands. For Bristol Bay, southwesterlies 25 knots, extend down the Bering Sea side of the peninsula, a tad stronger here on the south side from Cape Sarachev up to Sitkinak, about 30 knots, pretty consistent. And then westerlies there for that area on Monday at 20 knots, southwest 20 here for the peninsula on the north side, dropping off, but staying westerly for Bristol Bay. And for the eastern Aleutians, kind of variable, 10 to 15 through here, and for mostly, or especially for Unalaska Island, southwest 15 to 25. and kind of westerly for the most part, 15 to 20 for the eastern Aleutians, and west-southwest, 25 knots here out towards Shemya. And then for Monday, those turn southerly at the same speed, seas 10 feet, and southwesterlies 15 to 20 knots here. Again, right up toward Nikolsky, and then things kind of west-southwest 15 to 20. And for the southwest coast, south of Nunivak Island, small craft advisories, otherwise southwest 20, turning south at 15 for St. Lawrence Island. Southwest 25 there around the St. Matthew Island area, northern Bering Sea, light winds for the Pribilofs. Southwest 20 there for the Pribilofs on Monday, and a pretty uniform wind pattern here right up to the coast, and then turning more southerly across St. Lawrence Island. Up along the Arctic coast, not much change. East 15 on the central coast, picking up 25 knots there on the east side. Kind of a variable to maybe southeast breeze there on the west side, 10 to 15 knots, but southerlies 20 knots here from Wales on up to Cape Beaufort. And then no change here on Monday, lighter and more southeasterly there. And then we've got easterlies 20 knots, again picking up to small craft advisory levels there as you head toward demarcation point. And for tonight, again, rain ending, tapering off, probably ending altogether here with some lingering showers over the mountains as the moisture and trough area pushes off to the east. And again, chance of some light scattered showers over the northern panhandle. This system pushing rain from here, eastern Aleutians, sliding northeastward as the low center tracks up to the southwest coast. And that tomorrow will push all the way across the Kuskokwim Valley to the Alaska Range, extending back along the peninsula. A break here, diminishing showers in the east, and more clouds, cooler, and a little showery for the panhandle. And that'll last into Monday as well, otherwise scattered showers.
These forecasts are to be used for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating. Alaska Weather is made possible by the following sponsors.
The National Weather Service.
Alyeska Pipeline Service Company, sustaining Alaska's pipeline and its operations today and into the future.